As public health officials try to track down everyone who may have been exposed to the newest measles patient in Toronto, they're asking people to check their vaccine records and make sure their families are up to date. 6 cases have now been confirmed in the city, and Natalie Kalata gives us the bigger picture from across the country.
Aziza Sindhu took her daughter to the emergency room looking for help.
She had a really high fever.
Instead, her toddler was unknowingly exposed.
Somebody had measles in the ER, and she's high risk. She could be exposed, and we need to get, they wanted proof of our immunization.
Health officials confirmed the 6th case of measles in Toronto. The patient is an adult born before 1970. That's significant because the Public Health Agency of Canada says adults born before 1970 can be presumed to have acquired a natural immunity. Immunize Canada says before a measles vaccine was developed, the disease was responsible for 50 to 75 deaths every year. Since then, the number of cases has fallen by over 99%. Still,
among unvaccinated populations, one measles case usually manages to infect 16 other people.
Emergency room Dr. Brett Belchet says children are among the most vulnerable. Rash, fever, and a runny nose are all common symptoms, but it can get much worse.
They can develop what's called encephalitis, which is infection of the brain tissue itself. And even if you survive that, there are often major lifelong neurological complications.
Last year, 5 provinces reported cases. In 2011, Quebec saw more than 700 confirmed reports of measles, but no deaths. Quebec's health officials are now waiting for test results and warning the public of a possible outbreak there.
When we look at this outbreak that we're having right now, we're not seeing a failure of the vaccine. We're seeing something that we sort of anticipated all along, which is people who have declined the vaccination now getting sick now that the bug is in the community.
And health officials in other provinces are pressing the importance of vaccines.
People who are older and who've never had measles or whose parents recall that they've never had measles can definitely be vaccinated.
As for Sindhu, she took her daughter to a local clinic for a shot and took a blood test to check herself.
And you can't take chances.
Health officials say at this point there is no connection between the 6 cases in Toronto. The test results for all 8 patients in Quebec are expected next week. Natalie Kalata, CBC News, Toronto.
And the measles count in the U.S. has now exceeded 100 cases in 20 states, most of them connected to the outbreak at Disneyland in California. Now, the University of California says in 2 years, all students will have to be vaccinated. In New Mexico, one school board will start barring unvaccinated students unless they have a valid state exemption. And in Chicago, where 5 babies too young to be vaccinated were infected at daycare, public health officials are now working on a plan to ensure all childcare workers are immunized.